Hi everyone, this is Crispy1001 at kpcoolstuff.com. This is our 10th video on how to use Blender and the Blender2FSX add-on to make models for Flight Simulator 10. In this video we're going to continue working on our virtual cockpit. We're going to create our textures. We'll also create our instrument panel and our poly that's going to be used by FSX to make a transparency to put our instruments on. So to do this, we're going to be using GIMP and Image Tool. I'll show you where Image Tool is once we get there. So let's go ahead and open GIMP 2.8. First texture we're going to make is our dummy texture, which FSX uses to replace or to put, it uses as a placeholder so that FSX, when it loads your file, it will put a transparency in place of it. So to do that, let's go File and New. It needs to be a perfect square, this texture, so either 256 by 256, 512 by 512, 1024 by 1024, or 2048 by 2048. So it has to be a factor of 2. So we're going to do ours 512 by 512. It also has to be a indexed 8-bit bitmap. So we have that set up. Let's hit OK. Now let's go to our color picker and make sure that everything is zeroed. Make sure we have a pure black color. If it doesn't, then right here under HTML notation, type in 000000 and enter, and OK. Let's go to our bucket fill, click in it, fill that image in. Then, to make sure that once we have this texture and using it in our model, we're going to put some text on it to make sure that the orientation is correct once we start using it in our model or in the 3D in Blender. So let's go to Paintbrush. I'm going to choose a yellow color. Oh, there we go. Yellow, and say OK. I'm going to go to Paintbrush and type in P1 for our first panel. Then we're going to go to Image. We're going to go down to Mode and go to Indexed. Click Indexed. Leave everything default. Hit Convert. Go back to File. Go to Export As. Navigate to where your test plane project folder is. And we're going to put this in the textures folder. We're going to call it so that FSX knows that this is a placeholder texture. We have to start with the $sign. And then I'm going to type in P1 dot, and it has to be a bitmap, so BMP. And I'm going to hit Export, leave everything default, and hit Export. Now we can close GIMP for right now. Now we're going to use the image tool that came with the Flight Simulator 10 SDK, and I will show you where that's located. Okay, so if you did a default install, it should be under C Drive, Program Files, x86, Microsoft Games, Microsoft Flight Simulator 10 SDK, SDK, Environment Kit, and then Terrain SDK, and you'll see Image Tool. So if you don't have this on your desktop, you might want to left click it once, do a right mouse click, and hit Send to Desktop, and it'll make you a shortcut for the desktop. I already have mine, so once you have that ready, go ahead and open the image tool. We're going to go File and Open. We're going to navigate to where you have your project file at, and in the textures folder there. So let's navigate there. And textures. Okay, there it is. We're going to click on it and open. Now I'm going to rename it, or I'm going to really rewrite it. I want to make sure that the BMP format for indexed 8-bit is correct, and sometimes GIMP doesn't always do it correctly. Same thing with DDS files, I found. GIMP doesn't always export the DDS or DXT1 to or that type of file correctly, so I use the image tool. So let's go to Image, Format, click on 8-bit. Let's go File and Save As. Down here, retype the $, capital P and 1, or if you didn't put capital P on yours, do lowercase, and then .bmp, and enter. Tell it yes, you want to replace it. Okay, now we need to make the DXT1 format of this that Flight Simulator will use. So we're going to go to Image, Format, we're going to go DXT1. Once it gets finished, you can see over here it says now the format is DXT1. Now we're going to go File, Save As. You want to make sure you're in the same texture folder for your project, and make sure to type in again the very same name, $P1 dot, and this time put DDS and save. Okay, so once that's done, we can close this out now. Okay, now we're going to make the texture that is visibly seen by us, the players, on that same panel. So we're going to go back into GIMP 2.8. We're going to go File and New. And again, we're going to do 512 by 512. This time I'm going to kick up the resolution a little bit. Let's do 320. Everything else I'll leave the same, and OK. Now this has to be a RGB 24-bit bitmap. So let's go ahead and let's click on our color chooser. I'm going to choose a gray. So let's type in a, well actually let's make it a little darker than that. For testing purposes, let's make it even a little bit different so we know we have it. So let's type in under your HTML notation, type in N8, 984219, and then say OK. Now it can be any color you want. I just want to make sure that I can see the texture right off. This would be where you'd want to start doing a really nice texture to either look like metal or leather or whatever your instrument panel is going to be made out of. So let's go to the bucket tool and enter. Now we're going to go up to filters. We're going to go to noise. We're going to go RGB noise. I'm going to uncheck the independent red, green, blue. I'm I'm going to take it down to about 15 and say OK. And that looks pretty good. So once we have that, we want to go up to Image, go Mode, make sure it's red, green, blue. That is good. Just make sure of that. We don't have to do anything other than that. Now we're going to go File, Export As, navigate to where your project file texture folder is, so C drive or wherever yours is. And textures. And I'm going to name mine Panel 1 texture dot BMP, and I'm going to hit export. Now I'm going to go into advanced options. I'm going to make sure that it's 24-bit, red, green, blue, and 8 bits, or I think it's, I don't remember if it's 8 bits or 8 bytes per channel, but you want to make sure it's R8, G8, B8, and 24-bit, and then say export. Okay, so that's good. We're going to close. We're now going to open up our image tool shortcut again. Go File and Open. You should be in the same area of your model because we opened this file before, but if you're not, navigate to again to your project folder under textures, find our panel 1 texture, which we did, and I'm just going to make sure again that the BMP file was saved correctly. So I'm going to hit File and Open. I'm going to go Image, Format, and 24-bit. Click on it. I'm going to go File and Save As. Type in the same name again, PANEL 1. Oops. Texture.bmp and save. Yes, I want to overwrite it. Okay, we can close it. Now we have our textures made. So the next thing we're going to do is start Blender. Okay, so let's open Blender. Okay, where we left off last time, we just got finished modeling the inside of our cockpit. So let's make sure, because I don't know what you've done to your model again. So let's make sure first we go to the left left toolbar and initialize our tool set. That's good. Next, let's see, let's hit the, if you do not have everything showing and you still have just your model showing, hit the slash on your numeric pad to bring everything back. Looks like we are in wireframe, so let's turn off wireframe. It looks like also I'm in edit mode for the fuselage, so I'm going to turn off edit mode, so tab. Let's hit A to unselect everything. Let's click on, here, let's use our tree view over here. Let's scroll up and we want to select the body and we want to find the cockpit. I think that's what we named it. Okay, no, we have not changed anything yet. Okay, so we want to make sure we have the body selected. And let's hit okay, let's make sure we have the body selected. Let's go over to your right toolbar here. Make sure you're under your object modifiers, and let's go ahead and apply our mirror. So this will make the duplicate of the other side that is being mirrored part of the wireframe. So let's go ahead and hit apply. Okay, so that takes care of that now. Now what we need to do, we need to set up another Blender file for the VC, or the virtual cockpit. This image here is for, or this model is for the exterior model. So what we're going to do, we're going to go up and hit File. We're going to do a Save As. Make sure that you're in your project folder. You'll see your test plane model, Blender model, or file. We're going to go up, and at the end of your test plane, get rid of the .blend, and I'm going to put a underscore VC, and then enter. It'll add the .blend on it. So this will be our virtual cockpit model, and I'm going to go Save as Blender File. Okay, so now if you go up top, up here, you should have test plane 1 underscore VC blend. So now we're working on a different model. So make sure that you have well, first we're going to remove some things because we don't need to have the landing gear, the wheels, or the back rudder or elevator. We want to make our virtual cockpit as small as possible, because in most virtual cockpits you start using a lot of vertices or a lot of polys in modeling your virtual cockpit. You don't want that being so high, so you need to get rid of everything you can that's not needed. You will never see your rudder, you'll never see your elevator, you'll never see, or usually you'll never see your landing gear because of where your viewpoint is. So we are going to click on the wheels. So I'm holding down the shift and clicking the wheels and selecting them, and the landing gear. I'm going to hit the X key and delete. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. I'm going to select the rudder, or the rudder control surface, the rudder. Hit X and delete. I'm going to select the rudder control, X and delete. I'm going to select the elevator control surface. I'm going to rotate some, and also select the elevator. Hit X and delete. I'm going to rotate a little bit. Yep, it's inside the fuselage, so I need to find the elevator control. Oh, there it is. So in your tree structure up here, elevator control, click on it. Make sure you bring your cursor back down into your 3D workspace. Hit X and delete. Okay. Now you can zoom out. Now we have the area, or only the parts that will be seen from the virtual cockpit. Now select the body, and we want the body all by itself so we don't see any of the other items. So on your numeric pad, hit the slash. Let's go into wireframe mode, so Z. Let's do a Control 3 to go into left orthographic view. And we're going to put or start a instrument panel right here. So we're going to reposition our 3D cursor, So I am going to right click. And remember, if you do not have your mouse set up as a left select, you can go to File, User Preferences, Input, under Mouse, and under Select With, make sure that the left button is selected. Then hit Save User Settings. And then whatever you select is with the left, and resetting or repositioning your 3D cursor is to the right. Okay, so I have my 3D cursor repositioned. I'm now going to hit Shift and A. We're going to go to Cube. We're going to go into Edit Mode. So Tab. I'm going to size it in the Y, so S and Y. I'm going to drop it in the Z, so I'm going to grab it and in Z. So about right there. I'm going to zoom in some. I'm going to G and grab it in the Z direction again. I want it about right there. Okay, now we're going to size it in the Y, so S and Y. I'm going to grab it and move it in the Y, G and Y, out a little bit. About right there. I'm going to hit the Tab to go out of edit mode. I want to reposition. Well, let's see. We'll do that after we go to the top view. Let's go to top view 7. Make sure you're in object mode. And we're going to grab it and move it to the middle of the plane. So G and X. So about right there. Now let's go back into edit mode. So Tab. We're going to aid and select all the vertices. We're going to hit B and do a box select on the left vertices. We're going to hit G and X to move them over. Probably to about right there. Hit A to unselect, B to box select again, G to grab in the X axis. Move it over about right there. Okay, so let's hit A to unselect. Let's now go Control 3 to go into side view. Let's do a control. Well, let's just do a number 1 on the numeric pad. Actually, it's not bad. Okay, let's go out of edit mode. So Tab. We're going to scroll up. We're going to go Set Origin. Origin to Geometry to reposition our middle origin of the object. I'm going to zoom out and rotate in perspective mode. Okay, that's good enough. Let's go back into the left orthographic view. So Control number pad 3. Let's go back into edit mode. Put your mouse cursor at about that point and hit a Control R for loop cut. Left mouse once and slide. Oops. I'm going to hit Control Z to redo. So Control R. hold down left mouse button and pull it up where you want it. I want it about right there. Go down to the bottom, do another Control R. I will leave that one right where it's at, so enter 2 times. I'm going to zoom in closer. I'm going to hit A to unselect, B to box select, select that vertex there. I'm going to G grab in the Y axis, about right there. We're going to go to a, let's see, side view. Okay, let's go in, let's hit A to unselect. Let's go into Edge, select. I want to select this edge and this edge. And I want to hit a, I'm sorry, wrong. I don't want to do it there. I want to select this edge and this edge, and I want to do a subdivide. Okay, that's good. I'm going to hit A to unselect. I'm going to now go into face mode or face select. I'm going to click on the little dot showing the normal on that face. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. I'm going to hit E to extrude, escape to cancel, S to size. I'm going to move it in just a little bit, about like that. So in the front you can see it looks like, well, about like that. We're going to go back to control number 3. We're going to hit A to unselect, go back to vertex mode. I'm going to do a box select these vertices here. I'm going to hit G and Z to bring them down some, to about right there. Okay, that's good. Go back, hit A. Let's go back to face mode. Select that face. We're going to hit E to extrude and pull it in some. Let's go to a side view. We might have pulled it in too much. We'll leave it. Okay, with that face still selected, we're going to do a Shift D. We're going to hit Y to pull it in Y, pull it out a little bit. We'll put it about right there and enter. With that still selected, hit the P on your keyboard. We're going to separate it and we're going to hit select. Now we're going to go over to our right toolbar, to our properties. We're going to click on the Object tab. We're going to rename this Panel 1 and enter. Let's hit A to, oh no, hit A one time. Okay, that selects everything. Hit it one more time to unselect everything, and tab to go out of edit mode into object mode. Okay, so now we have 2 objects. Let's make sure to click on the instrument panel, which is this big panel, and let's click on it. Oops. There we go. Oop, I named it wrong. I named it panel 1. So I actually want this one named instrument panel. And the small one we just made, panel 1. Okay. And then we need to parent these to the body. Let's also make sure, well, we'll do that at the end. We'll make sure all our scale is set to default. So let's go ahead and click on the instrument panel in the tree up here. Hold down the shift, click on panel 1, and then click on body. Put your mouse pointer back into the 3D workspace. You hit Control P. Set parent to object. Okay. Then you hit A to unselect everything. Let's go down now. Let's go into, let's hit Z to go into solid mode. Zoom out. Go up a little bit. Actually, let's hit the slash key once on the numeric pad. Bring everything back. Let's go and find our panel and hold down the shift and click on instrument panel. Then on your numeric pad hit the slash again. That'll leave us with only our instrument panel. Let's select only the instrument panel by itself. So there we go. Let's go to the properties window down here. Click on the materials tab. Hit new. We're going to give it a simple material for right now. Let's name it first. So panel 1, and I'll call it color. Make the intensity 100 or 100%. The specularity 0.10. It will have no texture, and we're just going to increase the diffused color. So let's bring this down a little bit to about there. Okay. Then let's click over here on the tree, or the window tree, or the tree structure, or view of the trees, of the object tree, and let's click on panel 1. Okay. Now we're going to UV it and apply our texture to it. And that would be the texture that's going to be used by FSX as a dummy texture. So let's go up to the little corner up here, pull it over to open another window. We're going to go down here, click here, and make it a UV image editor. Now with the mouse back in our 3D workspace over here, we're going to hit Tab to go into edit mode, and A to select all vertices. We'll go down to Mesh. We're going to go up to UV. Now you can also, if you want, just hit the U key on the keyboard to go to the UV unwrap. Then we're going to go Smart UV Project. I'm going to leave it default and hit OK. So now we have our item unwrapped. We'll go ahead now and we will make a new material for this. I'm going to call it panel, well, let's do the $, panel 1 color. I'm going to change that to 100% intensity on the diffuse color. Specularity, I'm going to do 0.10. Scroll down until you get to, let's see, where is it? Oh, there we go. FSX material parameters. We want to check that. Scroll down. At this point, we are not going to do a light map. We will do that later on the videos. So we're only going to set up for this VC cockpit without light maps right now. So we'll go down, down, down to right here. Frame buffer blend, we want to set transparent. That will automatically set source blend to source alpha and destination blend inverse source alpha. This is where you would set up if you had a light map to be controlled by FSX, depending on night only, or you can see additive user control, blend use control, and so forth, or additive night only. But right now we're not going to mess with that. The only other thing we need to check is way down at the bottom is virtual cockpit panel texture. Now we can scroll way up. Now we can add our texture. So let's click on texture. Let's click new. Okay, now we're going to name it. We'll just call it VC underscore $P1 texture. On the type, go to image or movie. Hit the open. Go to your textures folder. Find the $P1.bmp file. Open image. Scroll down to where it says mapping coordinates. We want to change to UV, and the UV map set to your UV map. That's all we need there. Next, we need to set it up for our UV. So let's go right here under new and open. You'll see a little picture icon. Click on that. And then click on your $P1BMP. That puts it there. Okay, we have an issue right here. So what we're going to do, in our UV image editor, click the A, or the A on the keyboard to select all the vertices. We're going to hit R for rotate, Z for the Z-axis, and 90, and enter. That fixed our orientation over here, so that's good now. Now we can go up and let's go over here to our 3D workspace, hit A to unselect the vertices, and Tab to get out of edit mode. We can go ahead and close this window now by going to the top and dragging over. Okay, so now we need to, let's go to File, let's save our file. So save. Let's zoom out. Let's hit the slash on our numeric pad again to bring everything back. Let's select our whole model, so hit A once to unselect everything, hit A again to select everything. Let's do a Control A. Let's go scale. Let's set everything back to a default scale in case we've messed with something. Hit A to unselect everything again. Go back up, go File and Save. Now let's go File, Export, DirectX for FSX. Make sure you're in your project test plane folder. Click under the model folder. Click over here on the left window under export fsx.x files, export.xml MDL file. Everything else you can leave alone. Then click the Export FSX.x file. Okay, that's done. Now we can close Blender. Okay, now we need to open up the folder where your textures are. We're going to first transfer our Panel 1 texture to our Flight Simulator folder for our test plane. We also need to do our model file. So first let's do the model file. So let's open up a new Windows Explorer window, or Explorer window. So open one up. We're going to navigate to where Flight Simulator is. So C drive, program files.x86, Microsoft Games, Flight Simulator 10 or Flight Simulator 10, Sim Objects, Airplanes. Scroll down to our test plane, and we're going to go into the model folder. You can see right now we only have one, so now we're going to leave that one open. Also have our project folder open. Let's click on it. Let's go to our MDL folder. We need our test plane _VC MDL file. So click on it, do a right mouse click and copy. Click under the file now that's for FSX. Make sure you're in your model folder and click paste. Once we have that, we now need to open up our model.cfg file, which is our configuration file. And you see that we have no interior model. So now we want to click there, type in test plane 1 _VC. Remember, you need to have caps exactly the way you have it in your original file. Then once you get that, hit File and Save. So now we have our exterior model and interior model. Let's close that. That part's done. Under your Flight Simulator where your test plane is, click on the main test plane folder. Go to your panel folder. Click on it. Now we're going to go to our project folder. We're going to click on it, test plane, go to its main folder, then go to its texture folder. We want to click once with the left mouse button on panel 1 texture, do a right mouse click, copy, go over to the FSX folder under panel, right mouse click and paste. Okay, that's good. Now under your FSX test plane folder, click on it again, go to textures, go back over to your texture folder for your project, click on the $P1, hold down the control key, also type or click on the $P1.dds file, click on it, do a right mouse click and copy, go over to your Flight Simulator where your plane is, under the texture, do a right mouse click and paste. Okay, there they are. Go back to your main folder, go to textures.1 and also right mouse click and paste. Okay, so that's set up our textures in the right place. Now you do not need this $P1 in these, but I always put it there for everyone so they can use it if they want to, especially if I have a model, Blender model out there that people can use. Okay, so now we have this set up. Let's go back. We can close this one now. We don't need it. This is the one for our Blender test plane model. So we can close that window. Leave the one up open for the FSX. Let's click on the test plane main folder. Click on the panel folder. And now we need to click on the panel.cfg configuration file. Open it up. Okay. First thing, window titles. We don't need any of these. We only have one for right now that we're going to have. So you can select all those and delete. This first window, you can leave it if you want. If you want to go to a 2D and have something, but we're going to make our own 2D too. So I would go ahead and select this, get rid of it. Select that, get rid of it. And go down to right here where all the gauge stuff is. Scroll all the way down until you get to, I'm sorry, I hit my mic. Stop before you get to V Cockpit 01. Don't delete that. Then hit the delete key to get rid of it. Then everything under the virtual cockpit 01. So from that point on down and stop to where it says views. Delete all of that. Okay. So now we're going to put in our virtual cockpit stuff. And I have some stuff already set up for it, which is right here. I haven't set up this lower gauge, so that's why you have the slash marks. The FSX will not read that. So we're going to take all this right here, put it up. Okay, I think I have to change this one. So I'm going to close that, move that over, open our thing there. Okay, we have a texture or panel 1 texture. Panel, okay, so I need to rename that. Make sure this one here, okay, this top part here saying file equals, this is going to be the bitmap that we can see, or the texture that we can visibly see in the 3D model. So let's type it the same way we have our file over there. So PANEL 1, capital TEXTURE, and remember to put the BMP extension. Background color we're leaving as black. Size is 512. We want it visible. We're increasing our size so it'll look not as pixelated to 1024 by 1024. And our texture is our that is going to be FSX is going to use as a dummy to put its own transparency and its point and its place right here, and it is $P1. I don't have it here, so let's make sure. Let's go back to test plane. Let's go to textures, and just because the way that I am, I'm going to click on it. I'm going to right mouse click. I'm going to copy. Now you do not have to do this. This is just one of the little things I do. I'm going to go to test plane again, go back to my panel, and paste it. That's so I have a reference right with me, so when I'm there I can see if I put the right thing. And we have $P1, $P1. I'm going to make sure it's capitalized. So capital P and 1. That's good. And the gauge, we're using the airspeed from the Cessna 172, which this is the model we've copied from. I've already set up the positions correctly. This is the x-axis, the y-axis, and the dimension of your gauge. Now I forgot to show you, and I wish I would have. I'll go back later and show you this. How you get these set up, you do the ratio between the width to the height of your poly that you have, and then you take that ratio and set up your X, because if you do it even though your gauge is a perfect circle most of the time, if you do it the same size, you're going to be stretched, because the poly you're putting it on is usually longer in the X than it is in the Y. So that's why these are the Y is so much larger than what the X is. The other down here is for color. This is setting up the daylight color, which is white, night color. They also have a default white, and then the luminous, whatever color that is. And we're going to hit File and Save. I think we've did everything, so let's go ahead and minimize this one. Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. Make sure you close your panel file. We can minimize this one, and let's open Flight Simulator and see if we've did everything right. So find your test plane. There we go. And I'm going to go to a location that I have, which is an airport I made. And let's start. Uh-oh, I opened the wrong plane. I'm sorry. I had my test plane first, the plane I was working on, to make sure I got this model right. So let's hit, I'll hit escape in flight. Sorry about that. The model. This plane. Uh-oh. I didn't do something right. Oh, I know what it is. I forgot to resave the exterior model. That's why we have no windows. Okay, we'll go back and do it, but let's go ahead and test how the virtual cockpit looks. But you can see right now we're showing no windows, no nothing for our exterior model. Let's go ahead and go fly now. Okay, that looks good. Oh, we do need to reposition our location, so we're supposed to be in the middle of the plane. Let's zoom back. Up, there's our instrument. So that looks good. But let's reposition ourselves to be in this. But first we're going to go back. Blender, we're going to export our exterior model so you can see the cockpit. So let's escape on here, in my flight, close Flight Simulator, reopen Blender. Sorry, I forgot about this. We want to go to test plane, not our virtual cockpit, but our exterior model. Okay, there's our external model. Okay, we need to change it too. So if you open back up, it looks like I'm in edit mode. Let's get out of edit mode, so tab. Oop, I don't have my screencast on, so let me turn that on. Okay, so let's go ahead and on this one too, under our properties window to the right, under the object modifiers, go ahead and hit apply. and that'll just make it one big mesh now. So let's zoom out. Let's hit the slash on the numeric pad to bring up everything for the model. Let's get out of wireframe. If you're in wireframe, so hit Z. Okay, that looks good. Let's hit A once to unselect everything. Hit A one more time to select everything. We're doing this because I don't know if you've messed with anything and you forgot to rescale anything. So then we're going to hit Control A and scale. We're also going to go over and make sure we hit Initialize Tool Set, or Tool Set. Okay, that's good. Let's hit A to unselect everything. Let's go up to File and Save. Let's go File, Export, DirectX for FSX.x. Make sure that you are in your test plane folder. You are. Hit MDL. Now we already have one, so it's going to tell you it's going to ask you to overcopy over it. So let's make sure over here we have export.mdl file and hit export fsx.x file. Okay, now we can close Blender. Go to the folder where your test plane is at. Go to test plane main folder. Go to your MDL folder. Go to testplane1.mdl file, not the VC file which is down here. Click on that one and copy. You can close this one. Open up your flight simulator one now for your main plane or for your test plane. Go to model folder and you see it's already there. Let's click on it once, do a shift or just delete it to get rid of it, then hit a right mouse button and paste. Okay, that's good. Let's close that and restart Flight Simulator. Oh, before we do that, we want to center ourselves in our plane. So let's go back to the Flight Simulator to where our main plane, test plane is. Let's go click into the panel folder. Oh, I'm sorry. Nope. Go back to your main test plane folder. Click in the aircraft.cnf or CFG configuration file. We're going to scroll until we find View. Okay, there we go, or Views. So I'm going to change this to 4.25. I'm going to change this one here. That's your and Y, and this is your X, to 0.0 to put us in the middle of our plane because it's only a one-seater. And I'm going to drop this down to 1 foot. And let's hit File and Save. Close it. Minimize that. Reopen Flight Simulator. Navigate to where your test plane is. Choose your location that you want to fly at. Oops, come on. KP. And let's start. Okay, now we're in the middle of the plane. Let's zoom out a little bit. And see, we're pretty set up. Now, of course, you need to start and keep working on this. We will later in these tutorials work on this to make better. We'll put our light maps in, and we'll add actual textures and everything else too. Let's make sure that we can see our prop animations working good. Let's make sure our ailerons, that's good. Now flap. You can see, be able to see, that's rid of them. Cannot see a rudder elevator, so that's why we got rid of them. So everything looks good. So I'm going to escape. End. Okay, now make sure that you go in to where your test plane is at. Oop, not this one. Your main file. Go to your main project folder and get your test plane 1, select it, hold down shift, do test plane 1_VC. Oops. Unselect that one, do a right mouse click, copy, and go to backups. Do paste, and I'm going to click on the VC one first. One more time, do it _1 for my first backup on that one. I'm going to change this one, underscore, and this will be my 7th backup on this one. And now we're backed up. Okay, the next tutorial will work on making our yoke, our rudder pedals, and animating them, and work on putting more instruments on our panel, and I'll show you actually how to do that. This tutorial I didn't do that because I wanted to show you how to do the textures, get them out there, and test it on the flight simulator. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.